Hey everyone, in this video I want to show you something called weighted normals. Some people call this medium poly as well, and this has a very nice use for when you're building an environment and you have a game environment for that matter, and you have lots of assets that you don't want to spend all the time baking them so they can have those nice highlights around their border, like for example, I have here. You don't want to spend that much time just building a high poly and low poly and then baking it just so you can get that detail, because this is probably like an asteroid table that's just going to be in the background. No one's going to pay attention yet. You don't want it to look like this. You want it to have some nice highlights and react to lights on the border and all that good stuff. So doing this method works for that. You can either use this method for regular games, and this method is also highly used in VR games, because in VR games you have to have the most detail with geometry and not with normals, because anyone can pick up an object in VR and look around, and if you just see the different angle, then you're gonna see that's a normal map, and that doesn't look that good. So as you can see, I have some very nice highlights here, and this looks like a high poly object. The truth is, this is a very low poly object. So if I turn on my edge mode, you're gonna see that these are all the edges that there are. And if I go into my modifiers, I have something called FW normals. This is a script that helps us do this nice thing, which I'm going to talk about later. But first, let's talk about what weighted normals are. Alright, so I've left this model untouched, so I can show you what we're going to do here. This model is untouched. This one is with weighted normals, which is what you do by applying the smoothing groups. And this one is with the script applied, which improves a lot what we're doing. So let's start with what is weighted normals. So if I have this, let me isolate it. If I have an object like this, you're going to see that this object is made by various different polygons, and they all have different smoothing groups, and this is why it's what is creating the faceting here. So this looks like it's a different polygon than this one. Whereas if I apply a smoothing group, so smoothing groups are this one, and all it does is it takes the wave from one vertex and starts pulling it in the direction of that vertex, if that makes any sense. Okay, so let's apply one smoothing groups. So all the vertices get weighted, and you're gonna see what changes on this, because right now the vertices are not weighted. They're actually the same way that they are when they were spawned. So you're gonna see what happens when they're weighted, and the way that we weigh the vertices is by using the smoothing group. So I'm just gonna apply one smoothing group, and you're gonna see that this happens. However, this doesn't look good. As you can see, it's like it's trying to smooth out the whole thing, and it's losing those highlights a little bit. I actually don't like the shading, and you get this terrible shading back here. This isn't the way to go. Let me back down a little bit. Now let me show how that looks. To show you how that looks, you can use edit normals. And as you can see, each vertex is pointing in one direction. Right now, they are not weighted. However, if I go here, actually, let's say no, let me get rid of this. If I were to go here and smooth it out, I just apply one smoothing group to absolutely everything. And then I bring back that edit normal, you're going to see that all those vertices, remember we had more lines here, they all got combined. So the fact that they all got combined is going to generate this smoothing. So right now it's trying to smooth across all edges, and that's why it's trying to, that's why you can see that all of those lines, so the vertices got weighted into one single point. That's why now you see one single line per corner, because the truth of the matter is, if I go back again, if I were to actually open this object, you are going to see that it's more than 8 vertices. So if I chamfer with an open chamfer, you're going to see that this object is actually made by a lot more vertices, and this is actually what's going on here if I use the edit normals. Okay, so as you can see, there are all those lines coming out from each single vertice. However, just like you saw before, if I were to apply one smoothing group to everything, what it does, it weights those normals into one single direction. So if I were to again apply edit normal, you're going to see just one line. Okay, so how do we get this to look nice? The way that we do that is by using a little bit of chamfering. So the difference between this object right here and this object right here is the fact that I have some chamfering in this object. Same goes for the feet of the leg. As you can see, these ones are completely straight, and this one have a little bit of a smooth border. So if I turn on my etch mode, you're gonna see the chamfering here. You can see there's even a triangle here, which doesn't matter, but you're gonna see the chamfering, and that's what's helping me out getting these nice highlights. And this looks much better than if I were to just move these out, because guess what? If I go here and I select everything, you're gonna see that everything has one smoothing group. But however, because I have a chamfering here, this is helping me out with the geometry. And the reason why is because I'm pulling the vertices out and they're no longer together. So if I were to add edit normal, you're gonna see that these are no longer being pulled together. So even though they're not completely straight, they are no longer together merged into one line, which is why you see there's some nice highlights here. However, because they're perpendicular, they're not being weighted correctly, and this highlight starts to disappear. So if I go and I zoom out, you're gonna see the whole table. You're gonna see this highlight goes all the way here and starts disappearing until you can no longer see it. And that doesn't look good. In a video game, that doesn't look good. Even though this is a background item, you don't want your players to look at bad geometry. Then comes the script that I've been using, and by the way, this is a free script that you can get on ScriptSpot. I'm actually going to leave a link in the description below so you can get it. And it does right this. So if I were to select this, you're going to see the difference between this. Look at how the lines are pointing. They are pointing perpendicular to one another, and this is what it's creating this nice highlight going all the way around my object without me using more geometry. Because if I were to go here, actually, let's say no, let me just convert this down. If I were to go here and turn this on, you're going to see that I have, say, exactly the same chamfer that I have on this object. The only difference is that for this object, I apply something that's called the IFW normals script. So let me show you how that works. Okay, here is the website, and the website is actually very nice because it has an example. If I open this website, you can see the example a lot better. So you can see editable poly, standard with face weighted normals, which is what we did. And then you get these improved normals, which is what the script does. And I'm going to leave a link in the description to this page, and you can download the free version. I also have the full version. There's not much of a difference between the free and the full version. I think the full version is the one that allows you to have a shortcut key for it. I actually purchased the full version because I thought it was a nice script, but you can get the free version right here. All right, once you do that, all you have to do, like installing every script into TStudio Max, well, at least the most recent scripts that I know of, you just drag them into your viewport and they are instantly installed. So after you have installed your script, you're gonna see this little window, and if you map it to a shortcut, this little window will pop up every single time. So all you have to do is, let's remove this, is just grab your object and click generate. And that's it. It's just as simple as that. And it does it very automatically. However, you must have chamfering, because if you don't, let me show you what happens. Your object does like this. And your normals are going to be, yes, they're going to be weighted, but you're going to have a terrible and horrible shading. So this is the reason why, in order to use this script correctly, you must have a little bit more geometry than what we have here, because this is what happens if you don't have any chamfering whatsoever. Look at the difference. Let me put this away. Look at the difference between these two tables. Look at the shading here, the shading here. There's absolutely no highlights here, and there are some nice highlights here. So get the script, and this is a very good way just to get really quickly those low poly assets looking very nice for whatever game environment you're building. Actually, I've used this in some of my game environment. It works really great whenever you put it in engines like Unreal or Unity, and this helps you this allows you to not go through the hassle of baking something so simple as a table, but still allowing you to have those nice details. So hope this video have been useful to you. Leave your comments down below if you have any. Remember to like this video and subscribe, because I'm gonna keep making more tutorials. I'll see you in the next video.